Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar, run for the UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, as we have got some dry weather coming, especially into tomorrow, Monday. It is looking pretty dry for many areas, but we're also equally going to see quite a few days like today, where some areas are decent, but other areas have heavy, thundery showers moving in, as we generally have a westerly pattern dominating, with areas of low pressure moving in off the Atlantic. They don't look too severe at this stage, so we're not expecting absolute washout conditions, but in the next sort of 5+ days, I don't suspect we'll see anything completely bone dry at all. Temperatures will be decent. There won't be anything crazy, but we could see high teens, low 20s. The upper air temperatures are slightly below average, but when we do see sunshine, it will feel generally warm. Into the longer term, as we see from the GFS, GEM, ECMWF and the ensembles, this sort of unsettled pattern is going to continue. Now, I have heard rumblings that perhaps we're going to see some high pressure as we head into early September, some warmer, drier weather coming. Now, from the looks of the latest runs, that doesn't look like the most likely scenario. There are some runs showing high pressure building in, and perhaps building in for a couple of days, but I'm not seeing anything sustained, anything lasting more than a day or two. Temperatures are likely to rise, though, with the westerly flow we're seeing. It's going to tilt more to a southwesterly, with the air mass origination more from the mid-Atlantic. So, yes, longer term, into early September, the upper air temperatures do look generally average or above average instead of the below average we have at the moment, which may mean sort of mid-20s is possible on some drier days, but by all means it's still going to see a lot of rainfall around lots of areas and potentially quite a few thunderstorms with those more humid air masses. So no, it's not looking sustained warm and dry in the longer term. There are hints, but at this stage the most likely scenario is a continuation of this showery outlook we have at the moment. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. As you start on the live radar, you can see we've got a few thunderstorms breaking out once again today. We did see thunderstorms yesterday. It was actually quite a lot more widespread and intense than initially anticipated. We did have a yellow warning for storms in the northeast, but by the looks of some of the storms we saw further southwards, probably could have done with a yellow warning in parts of England as well. Again, the storms were fairly scattered. Most showers are just heavy to moderate in intensity, but especially in around the London area and elsewhere, we had a smattering of big thunderstorms that produced torrential rainfall and frequent lightning. Now, at the moment, we're seeing some more of these storms, a little bit more exclusively in the northeast today, but once again, see darker reds implying really significant rainfall, and the model's not quite picking up on it to the same extent that we're seeing in reality. Further southwards today, less showers, but still a few around, and you can see up to the west, we're seeing a weather front pushing. It's a very weak weather front and really only bringing in some light to moderate rainfall in a few spots and generally thicker cloud. And ahead of that, as I said, we're in a warmer air mass, and that's why we're seeing these thunderstorms break out in the east, and sort of lines which are appearing, which will imply that they are really being picked up by convergent zones, and that's where they are forming. Should dissipate through the afternoon and evening, but where these do occur, we continue to see some really heavy rainfall. Now, if you put on the temperatures as of around 2 p.m, you can see it's not particularly great today, but it's not poor either. Down in the south, where we see a bit more sunshine in between the showers, could see temperatures into the low 20s and feel a little bit warmer. But under showers and cloud in the west, it will feel reasonably cool. If you actually look down to our south, you can still see the remnants of that very hot air mass that got swept away at the end of past working week. That did give some more big thunderstorms across the south coast. That hot air mass is moving well to the southeast of Europe and slowly getting swept away and replaced by Atlantic air masses. If you do put on the past 24 hours, we'll be able to see past 24-hour precipitation, we're able to see the thunderstorms, any of these darker green blobs, so in around the London area and scattered around much of England and Wales up towards the northeast. At the moment, we see these darker green and yellow blobs indicating thunderstorms breaking out, very heavy showers. We did actually see a snap yellow rain warning issued across the northwest. It was issued at about 1 a.m. last night and expired at 8 a.m. this morning. I don't really see the point of putting that warning in that late notice, but it was issued, and it was because we did see a stream of heavy showers in the north and west, and again, probably warranted. Have a look at this past 24-hour precipitation. But if we do have a look at the next 5 days to see what rainfall has in store for us over this upcoming working week, we can see over the next couple of hours that thunderstorms in the north and the east starting to dissipate away, and that rainfall in the west dissipating as well, just turning into an area of rain with a few patchy showers overnight. Into tomorrow, as I said, it's going to be actually quite a dry day. Behind that weather front that does move through overnight, just a bit of thick cloud, we have some drier air, some North Atlantic cooler, drier air, and it's going to mean that there's a few showers around in places, very light and dotted, and some patchy cloud, but it's actually going to be a pretty decent day in most areas. Into Tuesday, things do become a little bit more unsettled in the afternoon. You can see more showers breaking out in the north, and especially across Scotland. For the south, still a reasonably good day. But by Wednesday, you can see again, still reasonably good conditions, but by the evening, rainfall is starting to move in. That heavy rain starts to push in by the early hours of Thursday. By Thursday afternoon, most areas are under thick cloud, on and off patchy rain, and some heavier pulses in the north and the west, and that continues into Friday as we see low pressure move in. You can see the mean sea level pressure, low pressure out to our north, warmer air pushing up from the south, and a flat westerly wind, and we are seeing that rainfall break out. You can see these streaks of warm, humid air, and that is what's causing the rainfall. If you do put on the temperatures, you'll be able to see it's not particularly great over the next 5 days, but it's not horrible either. As I said, today temperatures peaking around the 19 or 20 degree mark. Again, it will feel cool under showers and cloud, but if you see some sunshine, it will feel reasonably warm. A little bit below average for the end of August, but we are pretty much now on our way to September. So these sort of conditions wouldn't be too bad in September. As we head into Monday, temperatures rising slightly higher, widely 19 to 21 degrees. Pretty decent conditions. And again, with the sunshine in between the clouds, it will feel pretty decent. Into Tuesday, temperatures once again could reach 20, 21 degrees. Slight feel still, probably of summer in the air. And yeah, pretty decent in the south and east. Wednesday, still decent, maybe as high as 22 or 23, but the west, it's starting to cool down with the fresher air coming in, and by Thursday, could still reach 21 or 23 in the south and the east, but look in the north, all that rainfall moving in, it does cool those temperatures down to a pretty abysmal level, mid to low teens looking likely here. Yes, actually quite a humid air mass is moving in, but under rainfall, it will feel pretty cold indeed. You can see the humid air mass, because by the 1st of September, overnight temperatures not dropping lower than the high teens, so very small diurnal range come the end of this upcoming working week. So as I said, not going to be an amazingly cold week, but not going to be an amazingly warm week. Could be quite humid towards the end with those sort of mid-Atlantic air masses moving in, but it's just going to bring in more rainfall, giving probably quite a wet end to the week, especially in the north and the west. But if we do have a look at the long range, we're able to see that this sort of unsettled pattern is going to continue, and yes, there are some rumblings of higher pressure, but nothing that's looking particularly strong at this stage. You see more low pressure moving through over the coming days, but this week we are under a little ridge of high pressure around that Tuesday, Wednesday, even to Thursday point before that next low moves in and dissipates as we head into Friday. Here, high pressure builds in, and you could look at this and think, we're going to see quite a warm southerly flow with lots of high pressure. High pressure holds on perhaps through Saturday, maybe just about into Sunday, but look, as we head beyond that, you see a bit of a northerly wind, you can see the pressure lowering around us, and actually a low pressure system develops over us, a little bit of a cut-off low there by early September. Beyond that, we still see high pressure around, close by, but still plenty of low pressure developing in the gaps between the high, and this is because the jet stream is very active trying to break these high pressure systems up, and it allows these little small low pressure systems to develop in the high pressure's absence. Right towards the end of the run, we even start seeing a more severe low trying to move in from the west, not producing anything too crazy at this point, but definitely would try to push in giving wet and windy weather. If you look at the upper air temperature, you can see there is a bit of a push to some warmer, hotter air there by the weekends, but it quickly gets swept away by sort of Sunday, Monday, so it could be a day or two of warmer weather, maybe mid to high 20s for a day or two, before slowly getting swept away, and we see more average air masses and more low pressure. Now, if we did see loads of high pressure, you'd expect to see minimal rainfall over the UK. But look at that. It's pretty abysmal. Lots of pinks and purples here, indicating that we're going to be seeing lots of rainfall here, so perhaps 30 to 50 millimetres in many northern and western points over the next couple of weeks. So yes, high pressure could ridge in at times. You can see lots of this rainfall is falling over the next couple of weeks, not in any single event, but lots of showers and areas of rainfall, and a lot of this is even falling after the first couple of days of September. So yes, high pressure could take a little bit of an influence at times, but this latest GFS run is still indicating there'll be plenty of showers and little areas of low pressure around to keep us reasonably unsettled. If you look at the GM run, again, low pressure over the top of us at the moment, but it should be clearing. Brief high for Monday, and high pressure holding on just about in the south for the middle of this working week. Low pressure moves back in for Friday, and then we see another low try to budge in by the weekend. So not as strong of a southerly wind. So GFS was pretty bold on a big high pressure system building in. This has got a much stronger westerly flow. You can see all the way to day 10. It's actually unsettled. Look at that, a northerly wind pushing in. And this would start to turn us pretty cold indeed. The temperature deviation, lots of blues to our north. Again, if we do run it back, you can see that we do see reasonably warm air by next weekend, around a 10-degree isotherm in, but nowhere near as warm as the GFS. For eventually, we do see some hotter air in the south, but this is ex-tropical systems bringing up some mid-Atlantic humid air, not really anything sort of heat wave or high pressure dominated at all. Quite an unsettled, humid westerly flow before eventually on the backside of these lows, we see a straight northerly wind. Again, unlikely to bring anything that cold, but could give some chilly weather during the middle of September if this does happen. If you look at the ECMWF, again, low pressure and control at the moment, but high pressure ridges in over the next 12 hours or so. Low pressure could try and influence us from the north by the middle of the week, and actually has a bit more influence than the GFS and GM had, so it could actually thwart some of that drier weather that's looking likely Monday, or especially Tuesday, Wednesday in the south. More low pressure systems move in for Friday. Could see high pressure ridge in there for Saturday, Sunday. So this would be pretty decent, but there's no southerly flow here, so the air mass wouldn't be insanely hot. And right towards the end of the run, we sort of see transient low pressure. So ECMWF actually the driest run here, but it's not completely dry. It's not going to see high pressure dominate for days on end. You can see here, come next weekend, reasonably warm air mass, slightly above average, and then by the end of the run we see a cooler air mass move in with another significant low, ex-tropical system there. I think that is the remnants of Hurricane Franklin, which we'll be looking at in a video in the next couple of days. It's coming over the high pressure here and probably going to impact us, or at least bring some sort of impacts towards us. Again, if we look at the accumulated precipitation, there's less rainfall, but still there's quite a bit. There's no signs of, high pressure. If we were seeing high pressure, you'd be seeing what we see across parts of North Africa here, with some small areas of green, or for example out towards Eastern Europe here. This is out towards the Black Sea, towards Eastern Ukraine and Russia actually. Out here you can see some white, so indicating zero rainfall, and some lighter greens indicating trace. But here, for the UK, we're seeing darker blues and purples, again indicating that we're going to be seeing some quite heavy and persistent rainfall at times. Finish by looking at the ensembles. Again, the best way to view the next couple of weeks. Now, you can see even the 6 o'clock run this morning from the GFS was below average over the next 4 or 5 days, coinciding with the drier weather. So if we did see the warmer air masses were looking likely into early September, and the dry weather this week, then we could see mid-20s. But unfortunately, the dry weather is looking like it's going to be coinciding with the cooler air mass. By the last day of August, so later this week into the weekend, you see we do go above average for the upper air temperatures, and there is a bit of a spike next weekend, but not massive. There are some ensemble members going for it, and some not. Most are going around the 10-degree isotherm, so again, that would give low 20s, maybe just about mid-20s. Precipitation's not huge, but it's not zero either, indicating what we generally said at the start of the video, which is there will be high pressure around at times, but there will still be plenty of showers, especially you can see by the weekend, or by sort of the 1st or 2nd of September, definitely looking like to be quite a few heavy showers moving in with some quite big precipitation there. Again, the 2 metre temperatures not looking anything particularly great, but you can see in the longer term, most ensemble members are getting to around the 21 or 22 degree mark, so low 20s is looking a real possibility into early September. But of course, with these warm and more humid air masses, it always brings the risk with these sort of small low pressure systems. You see repeats of what we've seen yesterday and in parts of the northeast today, with lots of heavy thunderstorms breaking out in the afternoon. Again, scattered, but still disruptive in places. And the real way to have a look at the pressure is just to have a look at the ensembles. You can see here, yes, longer term pressure rises a little bit. There are some runs going for really decent high pressure, but equally quite a few runs, especially in the first 10 days of September, that show some lower pressure as well. So pressure could slightly rise on what it is now, but we're not looking at anything sustained and warm at this stage. Things can, of course, change, but the latest GFS ensemble members are not supporting a massively warm and dry period. They're favouring a warming up in terms of air masses and are favouring some high pressure at times, but equally plenty of lows. And if we finish by looking at the ECMWF ensemble members, it's a similar picture, cooler than average over the next 5 days, warming up into the longer term again, with quite a bit of precipitation, bringing the risk of more thunderstorms, and eventually you can see temperatures deviate more towards average around the 10th of September, but no, the first sort of week of September generally looks slightly above average, but with lots of precipitation. There's more ensemble members here, so you'd expect that, but definitely quite a bit more precipitation than the GFS ensembles were indicating. So it's not looking warm and dry to start September, definitely looking above average air masses, but lots of rain, lots of precipitation spikes, and most likely some thunderstorms within this as well. Sea level pressure, there is a brief bump in around a week's time, but really to around 1,020 millibars, maybe 1,025, which is quite a weak area of high pressure, more transient. So again, could be a brief bump, brief ridge, but we're not looking at anything sustained. I must emphasise that, as I have been hearing a lot of stirring around about high pressure building in. There's signs of high pressure being around, but at this stage it doesn't look likely to dominate. It doesn't look likely, if it does move in for at least a day or two, it doesn't look likely to stick around. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Enjoy the next sort of 3 days of drier weather. There will be a few showers here or there, especially in the north, but it shouldn't be too bad. Temperature's not exceptional, but they're not cold either. So do enjoy the dry weather, as by the end of this working week, we're likely to see rainfall move in, and by next weekend into early next week, there is a lot of uncertainty, but at this stage, there's a lot of solutions on the card, and the most likely one is for it to turn slightly warmer, but also to remain fairly unsettled with showers and thunderstorms around. So as I said, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.